She had no home, no coat, and only a few dollars to her name, but on the coldest night of the year, a 17-year-old girl made a choice that nearly cost her life and changed many others forever. Welcome to Reality Untold Stories. While you are here, please hit the subscribe button and comment your view on the story and where you watching from. Section 1. The Night That Tested a Heart. Let me tell you about a night so cold it felt like the world had forgotten how to breathe. This story takes place in Toronto, Canada, during one of those winter nights when the snow falls hard and the wind cuts straight through your bones. The kind of night where people rush indoors, lock their doors, and thank God they have heat, food, and someone waiting for them. But not everyone had that comfort. Her name was Lena Carter. She was 17 years old and completely alone. At an age when most teenagers worry about school, friends, or what to post online, Lena worried about something much simpler and much heavier: where she would sleep. Lena had been on her own since she was 14. Her grandmother, Mrs. Evelyn Carter, was the only family she ever knew. She raised Lena with patience, warmth, and love. But one winter morning, 3 years earlier, Evelyn never woke up. A quiet stroke took her away, and just like that, Lena's world fell apart. Since then, life had been a long stretch of shelters, couches, bus stations, and library corners. Some nights, she slept indoors. Some nights she didn't. And every time she thought things might improve, something fell through. That night, Lena had $27 in her pocket, a phone with a dying battery, and a thin hoodie that did almost nothing against the cold. She had just been told she couldn't stay at the youth shelter anymore. Not because she misbehaved, not because she caused trouble, but because she had turned 17 and younger kids needed the beds. That's how the system works sometimes. You age out. You disappear. So Lena walked. She walked through Rosedale, a quiet, wealthy neighborhood where houses stood tall and proud, their windows glowing warm against the snow. Inside those homes, families laughed, ate dinner, watched movies, and complained about the cold, without ever feeling it. Outside, Lena kept moving because stopping meant freezing. She knew she didn't belong there. A homeless black teenager with a backpack walking slowly past expensive homes was the kind of sight that made people uncomfortable. The kind of sight that led to phone calls and police cars. So she kept her head down, until she heard something. A voice. Soft. Shaking. Afraid. At first, Lena told herself to ignore it. She had learned the hard way that getting involved could be dangerous. When you had no address and no adult to defend you, helping others sometimes made things worse. But the voice came again. And this time, it sounded like someone crying. Lena followed the sound. Between two large houses, near a tall iron gate, she saw an elderly woman sitting in the snow. Her silver hair was loose, her nightgown thin, her slippers soaked. She was holding a framed photograph tightly to her chest, her hands trembling. She looked lost. And she was freezing. Lena's heart sank. That moment, right there, was where everything began. Rising tension, danger, fear, sacrifice. "Ma'am," Lena said softly. "Are you okay?" The woman looked up, eyes cloudy and scared. "I'm late," she whispered. "My son is waiting for me." Lena recognized that look immediately. Her grandmother had worn it too. Confusion. Fear. Memories slipping away. "What's your name?" Lena asked gently. "Ruth Walker," the woman said. "I need to get home." Lena glanced around. The street was empty. No one else had noticed this woman sitting alone in the snow. Ruth couldn't remember her address. She couldn't remember how she got there. And she was dressed for bed, not winter. Lena knew what she should do. Call for help. Call emergency services. Walk away and protect herself. But she also knew what could happen if authorities arrived and saw her standing there. No ID, no home, no explanation. Still, she couldn't leave. So Lena made a decision that would cost her everything. She took off her hoodie, her only protection against the cold, and wrapped it around Ruth's shoulders. "You'll freeze," Ruth said weakly. "I'll manage," Lena replied, even though her teeth were already chattering. They walked slowly, arm in arm, trying to find something familiar. The wind grew stronger. Snow fell faster. After a while, Ruth's legs gave out. They sat in a small doorway near a building wall. There was a faint warmth coming from a vent, barely noticeable, but better than nothing. That's when Lena reached into her backpack. At the bottom was a worn blanket, her grandmother's blanket, the last thing she had left. She hesitated. Then she wrapped it around both of them and pulled Ruth close. "My grandma would want this," Lena whispered. The hours passed painfully slow. Lena talked nonstop to keep Ruth awake. She told stories about her grandmother, about kindness, about survival. As the night deepened, Lena's body grew numb. Her shaking stopped, something she knew was very bad.
But she didn't let go.
She stayed, because leaving wasn't an option anymore. Emotional turning point, near loss, truth revealed. By midnight, Lena was fading. Her thoughts felt heavy. Her vision blurred. The cold was no longer sharp, it was quiet, dangerous, inviting. "Please don't leave me," Ruth whispered. "I won't," Lena said. "I promise." Snow covered them like a blanket of silence. Lena thought of her grandmother's voice. "Stay kind, even when it's hard." Around dawn, headlights swept across the street. A car stopped. Footsteps ran. A woman screamed. "Mom." It was Ruth's daughter, Naomi Walker. Lena tried to speak, tried to explain. "She was lost," Lena whispered. "I couldn't leave her." And then everything went dark. Healing, transformation, new life. Lena woke up in a hospital bed.
Warm.
Safe.
Alive.
Ruth survived. Barely, but she survived. Naomi learned everything. She worked as the director of a large community arts foundation, someone who spent her life funding creativity but had forgotten how fragile life could be. She watched security footage. She saw Lena hold her mother through the night. And she made a decision. "You're coming home with us," Naomi said. "Not for a night. Not for charity. For real." Naomi became Lena's guardian, helped her return to school, gave her space, time, and safety. Slowly, Lena learned to breathe again. She passed her exams, found her confidence, found her voice, and most importantly, found a family. Satisfying ending, reflection, meaning. Years later, Lena stood in front of a small audience at a youth center. She worked now as a support counselor helping teens who aged out of care. People often asked her why she stayed that night. Her answer never changed. "Because someone needed me, and I was there." Ruth spent her final years surrounded by love. Naomi changed how she lived and worked, and Lena, once invisible, became a light for others. All because of one choice. The choice to stay. So here's the question I'll leave you with. When you see someone struggling, will you walk away or will you stay? Because sometimes staying changes everything. Top of form, bottom of form,